I did end up losing my voice trying to record this the first time. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I do have a cough candy in my mouth, so I apologize if you hear it going and like scraping along my teeth a bit or whatnot. I need to do it because my voice got all weird and stuff. Having mast cell activation can make my voice come and go. Alright, so what is filmmaking like when you're chronically ill? Well, it's definitely a lot different than if I was able-bodied, because doing things like scouting locations is something that I'm not actually able to do. Usually, I would have someone else do that kind of stuff for me. But for the purposes of the film that I've been making, though, it is different. Like, I have to do things in a different way because of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and mast cell activation syndrome and hyperadrenergic postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So because I have the trifecta of rare complexities, it definitely impinges on what I am able to do. That doesn't mean that I'm not able to make film, it just means things have to be substantially different. And this is something that I've had to convey to my mentor and to my production team. So doing film when you're chronically ill means realizing what your limitations are and working within those limitations and being able to do the things that you love as well. So for me, my filming process is completely different. Having someone in my space who has sound equipment, as an example, could potentially give me an allergic reaction. And that's because people spray their microphones with like things like Lysol or other products to try to clean them and disinfect them. But because of those scented products, those could actually do harm to me, even though they're like trying to kill the germs, which is great. The fragrance left behind by said cleaner could cause a problem for me. So if you have mast cell activation, as an example, and you are looking to get into filmmaking and you do have a problem with scented products, maybe just try to have your own sound equipment that you're able to clean with something that's scent-free, if possible. That is something that I have had to do using my own camera, my own mics, my own, like all of my own things for that purpose, which it can be a little more expensive, but it also is protecting me, right? So the quality of the things that I produce may be different than other people because I don't have the fundage to purchase an epic camera, something that would be substantially profound for shooting, but at the same time, I have to do what is best for myself and my safety. As far as like hyperadrenergic POTS goes, I don't do a whole lot of standing in general. If I do, I'm wearing compression stockings. So if I was to stand and film something, like I have had to do conducting interviews as an example, I would stand behind the camera, and if I needed to, have like a stool or something for me to sit on so that I am able to sit down if I need to, and that way still kind of be semi-comfortable while conducting an interview. Or you can just sit and conduct an interview. Now, it really depends on what kind of film you are making. As someone who hasn't made a production that's like a comedy or a horror or a drama kind of thing, I don't know what that entails yet. Ideally, I would like to film some of that stuff myself as well. I would really like to do some of my horror scripts as movies, as shorts. I do have a production team I really enjoy working with so far, and if I do end up pursuing more film in the future, which I hope I will, ideally I would like to work with them and hopefully have them on board for some of the horror stuff, which I haven't talked to them about yet, so let's just keep that hush-hush, even though it's the internet, but it's fine. I would really like to work with them again. They're an amazing production team and extremely understanding, and I'm very appreciative to them for all that they have done for me and helping me along this journey with my first film. So when it comes to documentary film stuff, though, it's a lot different because there's a lot of different things that can go into a doc, right? You can go around and interview people, and you can like film outside, and you can film yourself inside or film others inside of homes and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of legalities in that regard. You have to have documents releasing the location, as an example, because it is different than it is with like YouTube stuff, and I don't know what it's like in the United States. I just know Canadian things, and the legalities of filming other people without permission can be problematic in a documentary sense, as an example. You have to have consent to use someone's images in a documentary, whether it's photos of them or, you know, just little short snippets of them, maybe from, like, if I used some stuff of my family from childhood and showed, say, like my sister or something, and without her consent, that could be problematic legally. So I would not do that. I would have to cut her out of things, because if she didn't want to be involved, I don't want to have to, you know, deal with upsetting her, but also deal with the legality of it. And I'm not saying she would do anything by any means, but, you know, that's just kind of an example of a scenario that could potentially arise. It would be like that if I, you know, my dog, obviously, he can't consent because he is a dog, but filming my dog as an example is something that's fine because he's my dog and I consent to that. But if it was someone else's dog, for that matter, you'd have to get the owner's consent. You have to get someone to sign over, essentially, their image to you so that you're able to use their image in your film, whether it's for the purpose of making a drama or a horror film or a documentary. You are using that person's image, the way that they look, their voice, and you need to be able to do what you want with that for your piece of art, which is your film. And thus, you need to also cover your own ass, so to speak. So I've learned a lot of that kind of stuff as well, which is very fascinating and also like very eye-opening, because in the YouTube world, you always see people like out in public and filming whoever and then putting it on YouTube. And film isn't like that. There's a lot of legal stuff that goes into film, and it's a lot more stringent, and you have to be very, proactive as to what you're doing so that you don't end up losing out on potential income that you could make later. So like I had to get all of the people I interviewed to sign a release. I had to get anyone that had previous footages of me or photos of me to sign a release. So anyways, that's a little bit of like, you know, backstory-ish kind of stuff, if that makes sense. Just like, maybe not so much backstory because I can't think of the proper words because I have brain fog at the moment. But like the legality of stuff and keeping that in mind when going forward with film. Now, when it comes to like how my body reacts to stuff, it has been very challenging. There's been days where I've gotten up and I'm like, I have to like look at 10 hours of footage or whatever because I have a lot of footage and I need to like pick and choose parts that I like to fit into my story. And those days are hard. I have to sit at my desk and I have to watch various footages, and it can be exhausting. And doing that kind of stuff is trying at times, but it's also something I really want to do. Now, I don't know how other people are, but I am a very driven person. I have a lot of stuff that I want to accomplish. I have a lot of things I want to do. I really want to help people to the best of my capacity because I feel like I've healed myself so much over the past 5-6 years, and I've learned so much about myself, and I want to help other people learn more about themselves and heal themselves. And so that's a big driving factor for me personally. Now, as someone who is quite driven, even when I feel like absolute garbage, and I mean like I am hardly able to move, I will still try to do something. That's just who I am. And I'm not saying that other people need to be like me or do that kind of stuff. Everyone has their own limits. But I am not a quitter. I may say at times, I quit, but I don't. I don't actually quit. I'm just saying that out of frustration. I don't quit on things. The reason that I am making this documentary and have been working on it so hard is because it's something I've wanted to do for over a decade. And that's never gone away. It's like my books that I'm writing. Like, those things are things that I've wanted to do ever since I was like 5 years old. I wanted to write books. I wanted to help other people ever since I was a little kid. So that kind of stuff just doesn't go away. Like, if it doesn't go away and you have that burn and that fire in you and you can feel that warmth in your chest, like, this is what I need to be doing. This is what I should be doing. And keep doing that thing. I'm not saying to do it when you feel like absolute garbage. Put time aside to rest. I definitely put time aside to rest. But I also find time to continue to pursue the things that I want to pursue. And I've had people tell me I'm inspiring or whatever, and don't tell me I'm inspiring because I'm sick. No offense to anybody, but that's kind of not okay. Because people who are sick that are driven, it's their drive and their determination that I find inspiring. It's not because they're sick that I find them inspiring. I find that kind of inspiration porn, for a lack of better wording, is not okay, because it's kind of glorifying the fact that they're sick and being like, oh, well, they are inspiring because they are sick. No, they are inspiring because they didn't quit. They're inspiring because of their determination. They're inspiring because of the person they are underneath everything. They're inspiring because of their essence. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with what they've, been through. It's because they don't quit. People that don't quit are the ones that succeed. People that don't quit are the ones that, they achieve a goal and they've achieved that goal and they move on to the next goal and they achieve another goal, and then they just keep going and building on that ladder of achievement to get to the place where they want to be. It's like a never-ending cycle. And it's not that they're not happy with what they've achieved. It's that they want to keep achieving those things to either help other people or to get to a place where they are financially stable. Because everybody's definition of success is different. So, getting back to the whole reason that I'm here, documentary filmmaking is hard. It's hard because you have to film hours and hours and hours of footage. I'm pretty sure I have way too much footage at this point. I know I have way too much footage because the production team even told me I had way too much footage. But I would rather have way too much than not enough. But the fact that I have so much and had to watch so much and had to go through and pick out snippets, because there was hours upon days probably of footage, really helped me to see the process of how difficult it is to make a documentary. Because you always see the finished product, on Netflix, on Amazon Prime, on YouTube, on any streaming service out there. You see the finished product. You don't see the years of work that go into a documentary or years of work that go into a TV show or a movie. You always see the finished product. So it's easy to say, oh, I could do that. But when you start the process and you realize all of the things underneath the surface that you have to do, like the legality with music, finding someone to compose a score for your film, that in itself, depending on how long your film is or what your film is about, how big your budget is, there's so much stuff that goes into it, and making film is not cheap. Anyone can pick up a camera and film something for a couple seconds and put it on TikTok or YouTube or whatever, but the editing even is completely different for a film than it is for something for the internet. So there's so many different things that go into making a film, and when you're chronically ill, making a film makes it even harder. And that's something that I've noticed. I've noticed that it's very trying, and like I've said, at times I don't want to get out of bed because I'm exhausted from having to, do this gardening approach with my film, where I wrote all of my scenes on sticky notes and then stuck it all over the wall and then stuck them all together to put it into sections, and then put it all together and was like, yeah, I still don't like it, I need to go back to the drawing board. And the amount of cuts that you end up doing to get to a place where you're finally happy with your film is also a thing, because it's not just like you pin it all together and boom, you're done. No, there's multiple edits that end up happening as well. And that's why I'm extremely grateful that I found a production team that's doing the editing portion for me, because I can edit, but I can't edit to the point of a documentary film yet. And I want my film to be put together well. And that's why I have a production team. So my advice to people who are wanting to get into film is find a production team that you're comfortable working with, or that you have a good rapport with, or that, you know, someone around you knows that has worked with that production team in the past, and go from there. Learn about how much it's going to cost for someone to either do editing for you, or learn about what kind of costs go into your film, and also learn about yourself and what you can and can't do. Is this a project that I can take on? Is this a project that I'm willing to commit to for a year or 2 years or 5 years, depending on your health situation? I'd like to take more than a year on mine, but I can't. I have deadlines. I have to have stuff in. That's not how it works for me. But is it something I would do again? Most definitely. Is it something I really have enjoyed doing? 100%. 100%. Has it been challenging because of having hyperPOTS? Yes. Has it been challenging because of mast cell activation? Yes. Has it been challenging because of Ehlers-Danlos? Yes. But I wouldn't change a thing, because I feel I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I feel like I'm on the right path, and it scares the shit out of me. It scares me so much, in fact, that at times I just want to take myself off the internet. But at the same time, if I do that, more people will just feel alone. And I don't want that. 100% I don't want that. Because life is worth living even when you're chronically ill. Life is worth living even when you have mental health issues and diagnoses. Life is worth living regardless, because there's so much beauty to find, even when you're stuck in a bubble like me. Thanks for being here today. I'm checking out my really long ass video. I hope I answered your question, and if I didn't, maybe ask another with more specifics that you'd like. That would definitely help me narrow it down as to what to talk about. And yeah, if anyone else has any other questions, please do ask, and I will do my best to make response videos as I am able. Take good care. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now.